Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is a quick update over the situation at Makiivka. So this is Ukraine, and at Donetsk, this is Donetsk region. Moving into Donetsk region, just on the eastern side of Donetsk, is actually Makiivka. And then Makiivka, there's a major thing that happened. There's a Ukrainian HIMARS strike where it hits a building full of mobilized Russian troops, which is unimaginable because this is a war zone, and a war zone that is extremely near to the front. So the Adievka is just around here, and you can see that from the front line all the way to Makiivka is merely 15 kilometers. And at 15 kilometers, so many kind of artillery could have hit Makiivka, and somehow certain Russian officers or commanders have the wisdom to actually house up to 600 troops in a single building, and it was targeted by the Ukrainian HIMARS, and the entire building is flattened. As far as the photos that I saw, the whole building is gone. It's totally gone. So let's read what the Russian Defense Ministry reported. So according to the Russian Defense Ministry, they say that the Ukrainian forces have launched a strike with 6 HIMARS missiles, and 2 of these 6 got shot down, reportedly by air defense. However, the other 4 hit the target, and it resulted in the death of 63 Russian servicemen, or 63 soldiers. However, this number is severely disputed. So let's start off with what Ryba report, the pro-Russian source Ryba. So on Ryba, they reported at 01 minute of the new year 2023, the very first minute of the new year, the school, a vocational school in Donetsk, Makiivka, has been hit by the HIMARS, MLRS. 2 were intercepted, just as per what the Russian Defense Ministry have reported. And they said that in mid-December, the 14,444th Regiment was placed in this facility, and they are all mobilized troops. They are all newly mobilized troops, and somehow in this location they also stored ammunition, and which is why they explain, or at least Ryber explained how this entire place can be detonated with a single blow. So according to their information, there is 600 people in the building, and the date confirms includes 70 people, and they continue to clear the debris. And they estimated, so Ryba estimate that the losses reaches 110, and more than 100 is injured, and means of communication and documents are lost, and control is broken. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to mean, and they say that so Ryba actually point the responsibility to the commander of the regiment, Colonel Roman Yenikiev, and but they only partially blame him, saying that the colonel just simply blindly follow instructions from his superior. And this incident, right, this Makiivka strike is fascinating in many ways. Firstly, so many pro-Russian sources went crazy, including journalists and reporters. They cannot believe this had happened, and they felt that a tremendous number of people has died, and it really, everyone just went crazy. So I find it I find it a bit interesting. There's a few things to note. The number of killed, no, let's say it's 63, or let's say it's 200 or 100, is not particularly special. If you were to believe what the Ukrainian Defense Ministry or sources tend to say, they have so many HIMARS strikes, so many artillery strikes, so many battles that reportedly killed hundreds of Russian soldiers. Like even I think the report from the day yesterday or the day before, they claim that over 600 Russian soldiers has been killed in a single day. And that begs the question, why this become such a major issue among all the Russian sources or pro-Russian sources, as compared to the battles that so many Russian soldiers has died. The Or could it be that the normal fighting did not really have that many losses, and this loss of a one shot, maybe a few hundred people dying, is actually way more significant than it seems to be, in the front lines. I really not sure, because the hoo-ha coming out of this incident, it seems to be overblown, or it seems to be abnormal, much bigger than what it seems if pro-Ukrainian sources the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's words are to be trusted, where in the front lines, in the battles, the tremendous number of Russian soldiers are killed. In terms of artillery strike, or in terms of, let's say, what the Ukrainian side like to say, that Russians are pushing heavily around Bakhmut and they are taking tremendous losses. If they are taking tremendous losses, then the loss of a few hundred soldiers in a single HIMARS strike shouldn't be creating such a huge reaction. This is just something that I noticed that is out of the norm. I'm not trivializing the death. It's just weird that because there is two theories going on, and I'm not citing any one of them per se. There is a meat grinder so-called a meat grinder going through Bakhmut, and both sides are claiming that both sides are being grinded and both sides are losing tremendous number of soldiers. The Ukrainians say that the Russians are losing tremendous number of soldiers to push Bakhmut, and the Russian side saying that the Ukrainians are losing tremendous number of soldiers trying to defend Bakhmut. I personally have no freaking idea who is saying the truth and what is the truth. And personally, I don't care. I only look at the front line, as you should know by now, if you have been following me. But it is also why I find this tremendously weird that the pro-Russian sources and the pro-Russian Telegram channels are all freaking out over this incident, and which is why I thought that you should know about it, because if you don't follow the sources, you might not sense this. The reaction is tremendous. A lot of people can't take it. They cannot believe it. I have no reaction because I'm not pro-Russian, so I just like, oh, okay, lord, then another base got destroyed by HIMARS. So yeah, but the pro-Russian sources are crazy over this thing, and they are all freaking out. So war monitors made a very good calculation, or rather aggregation of all the numbers that have come out. They said that the Russian Ministry of Defense said 63 died, Gray Zone said 140 and counting, Ryba said 110 and counting, Romanov said 200 plus, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry said 400. I actually didn't see this report. I'm not sure where the Ukrainian Defense Ministry posted this. Strakov say hundreds. So the numbers vary wildly, and of course we are not going to trust the Russian Defense Ministry on this, because they are the Russian Defense Ministry, and when it comes to this kind of thing, they are not going to be truthful about the true extent of their defeat. And Sanya, Florida, one of the neutral, more or less neutral, very neutral report YouTuber that is reporting on the war based using DPA's mapping, and his channel is in Russian. So if you prefer Russian reports, you can actually search on YouTube Sanya, Florida, and you can follow him. So he reported that based on his sources that 300 were killed and 150 were injured. Of course, approximately, and he's 100% sure, because this is the source. This is a source from his side that he fully trusts. So he said that in the building there is 500 people, so 300 are injured, 150 300 were killed, 150 were injured. So I think Sanya's numbers seems to be more or less there. It seems more or less correct, because Grayson and Ryba will continue to count, and Romanov already said 200 plus. Of course, the Ukrainians are going to blow up the number, since they should have no means of knowing the numbers unless they have informants on the ground, and they probably would not know so quickly. I'm guessing, and Strakov being politically correct, say hundreds. So I think 300 getting killed is probably more or less there, and the so the theory, the most popular theory coming out on how did this even happen, putting aside the situation of the stupidity of putting so many soldiers in a single place. Like, even we play real-time strategy games, we know better not to put not to cluster infantries in a single place. The most popular theory was that there is a high cellular activities which is the culprit. So according to Nexta TV on Twitter, they reported that the attack on the Russian troops in Makiivka is made possible by high cellular activities of mobile phones. They say that the active use of the cell phones led to the determination of the location with the help of the Echelon Reconnaissance Complex, which is some system that the Ukrainian side is using in their electronic intelligence. So and according to the sources that other Russian sources that are freaking out, they reported that one of the big reasons how this is being determined was because a lot of the Russians or Russians within the region, especially the soldiers, are using the cell phone with Russian SIM card. They are doing roaming. So because of the Russian SIM card, the data probably is different because of the roaming, and that allows them to determine the sources, the who are actually there. Are they Russians or are they local Donbas residents? So, and they one of the sources, one of the not sources, I think it's a source for me, but one of the Russian Telegram channel highly urge everyone to take out their Russian SIM card if they are in Ukraine, and not to even put it inside. So don't even use the SIM card at all. So tell them to take out entirely to maintain operational discipline and secrecy. So it's causing a huge wave in the Russian community or the pro-Russian community right now about this thing. So I think it's interesting that that they, I mean, it is believable, that soldiers, being housed in a certain place may start to use their phone. They think that they're in the rear, and they think that it's perfectly fine, to contact their families and stuff. So, or using the internet. And I think it's kind of, it's exactly kind of stupid to not use a local SIM card and to have 600 people or 500 people all squeezed in a single place, all using the phone at the same time, given that most the region here, as you can tell, probably not many places would have a lot of people at the same place, and to have many people in a single school compound. So because if you are in the residential region, it's one thing. If you are a lot of people in a school, it's another thing. So I think that is the reason why it also helps the Ukrainians to do the targeting. And so according to Boris Rosin, a pro-Russian source, they reported that this incident has become so major that it is now being reported to Putin. And Putin, after being informed of the situation, have demanded, or the nice word is called instructed, the military and the investigative committee to investigate the incident and submit the report by the 6th of January, which is actually just 3 days. So they have 3 days to do fact finding and report back to the president of Russia. And so again, the level of reaction, even all the way throughout the entire hierarchy, from the pro-Russian sites, the Telegram channels, the OSIN, going up all the way to the highest place at Kremlin, suggests that most of the front line may not see this much casualties in a single day or a single incident, at least lately. So this is just the situation, this kind, the comparative study that I do to kind of ascertain certain facts on the ground. I'm quite sure Russians are losing troops tremendously in the front lines, but it might not be in the hundreds per day, like the 500-600 per day kind of thing where the Ukrainians are claiming, because if that was the case, then having 300 people dying in a single place might not be such a big deal in comparison. In comparison, because it may be a big deal, but not that big a deal, because they are losing hundreds per day anyway. Because if you compare to the missile strikes reports from the Russian side, they are always claiming their missiles are hitting 150, 50, 200, 300, or 60, 80. The number of casualties that the Ukrainians are subjected to by Russian missile strikes is very common, and you don't really see the Ukrainian side freaking out over missile strikes, or having many people dying by a single mistake, for example. And so this, when you contrast the two sides, that if you are covering like the way I cover, or you read the way I read, you may realize that this is a bit unusual. So anyway, this is just the situation at Makiivka, where the Russians suffered a major defeat in terms of mobilized troops. And this is so to put a political spectrum to this, is that these are mobilized troops. So the Russian Defense Ministry or the Russian government have to be answerable to the families. And to have so many people, they are mobilized, they're supposed to fight at the front, and to die in the rear will create some political problems for Russia. And this is definitely a huge win for Ukraine, and a huge propaganda win for Ukraine. So anyway, please press the like button, please subscribe, and for those that unsubscribed, please subscribe back. I will still continue to report on the Ukraine war on the main channel, just that it's not going to be the war reporting. It's going to be the things that happen around the world. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.